Before we continue with this video, Leila Pereira is speaking again. Let me just start here. Saying that she said Flamengo doesn't think about others, she's obviously talking about Flamengo, right? She said there's a club that wants to be the Real Madrid of Brazil. That it's not even the Shopee version of Real Madrid. It's not Real Madrid, and it never will be. It'll be the Shopee version of Real Madrid. Dear, let me tell you something. Danilo's goal still hurts. It still hurts. You're still feeling Danilo's goal. And the runner-up in the Brazilian league, calm down. You haven't won anything yet, man. You really feel it, right? You really feel it, and they're all coming together, right? They're all coming together. It's Leila Pereira. Now, Pedrinho also wants to talk about BAP. Look, it's us against everything and everyone. Okay, you've already noticed that this year everyone is against Flamengo, right? Everyone is against Flamengo, right? It's impressive, man. Yeah. And the fans here are commenting too, right? I love it, right? Glenda Koslovis, I love it when you guys wrap up like that, you know, kind of joking, because people were playing around with the little song here and all. But Glenda, finding it funny, why? She has to find it funny. She's a Flamengo fan, right? Those guys only think about us, right? And then people are sending in, posting videos here, making fun. Look, this one here, it still hurts, right? You have to put up with it, man. You have to put up with the bad guy, man. Those guys are really upset with Flamengo. Their lives revolve around Flamengo. Hey guys, red and black greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just arriving, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms, especially if you're on YouTube. I invite you to subscribe down below. Turn on notifications by clicking the bell and leave a cool like on the video. We're here thanks to Caravana do Haroldo, and remember, you can secure your spot. You're here hanging out with Paparazzo Rubro Negro, right? But you can secure your spot at the Copa Libertadores da America. You can make sure you're there at Maracanã with a warm welcome and ticket included. Guys, I'm wearing my seatbelt. I'm driving as if I'm talking to someone next to me, paying attention to everything. So there's no reason, okay? I'm not holding my phone, okay? There's no reason for anyone to say anything. Here's the deal, guys. Let's go. Haroldo's Caravan, ticket included, welcome service, so you can guarantee, man, the greatest comfort possible at Mango's games, Maracanã. With everything included, you can call them and you won't regret it. Also remember that you can secure your spot at Flamengo's away games in the Libertadores. They have the packages, the best packages, and remember, they've been taking Flamengo fans to games outside Brazil since the 1981 Club World Cup. Okay, guys. That's right. Zico's Club World Cup, Mango champion Haroldo's Caravan was already taking you to support Mango, so check it out. Also, let me remind you that you can lose weight in a healthy way with Mais Cabelo. The Mais Slim program from Mais Cabelo is amazing. Guys, everyone who's getting to know it here, I only get compliments. People all over Brazil, right? There's Mais Cabelo Slim, right? Which is the program, right? The Mais Slim, Mais Cabelo Slim, Mais Cabelo 2 at Mais Cabelo. You can join or you can access the link that's in the comment pinned, man. You can get to know it and do a free evaluation. There's a Mais Cabelo near you. Everywhere in Brazil, there's always a Mais Cabelo clinic. And besides that, you can also take care of your hair health. I had some hair loss at the beginning of my weight loss journey. Mais Cabelo is taking care of it, and now my hair is starting to grow back, right? That's why it's so important to have this follow-up with Mais Cabelo. We're also here, if I'm driving, I have AIP insurance. AIP Florida helped me and found me the best coverage. For insurance, you can also look for AIP, right? Leadership. Let me talk about leadership. Leadership is at AIP. Look, we're here to bring you a lot of information, and I want to start right away by talking about the situation with Jorginho, and Danilo, okay? We had Flamengo releasing images from the training session, right, between one match and another. This trip to Cusco, Flamengo will stay overnight in Cusco, okay, from Tuesday to Wednesday, play on Wednesday, stay overnight from Wednesday to Thursday, and then on Thursday. So it's 2 nights at high altitude, guys, 2 nights at high altitude, but the most important thing for us to talk about is the leadership at Flamengo. We need to talk to you about what's going on because Flamengo even considered hiring Fabio Luciano to help Boto and Jardim. In that role as a link between the football department, the squad, and the board, and even to bring the coach closer to the squad. You know, to be a spokesperson for the players in the locker room, right? With the board and also with the coach. But that wasn't necessary. Flamengo even considered, Flamengo hiring some names. We saw a lot of names being mentioned. There were talks about Edu Gaspar, even Fabio Luciano himself, but it wasn't necessary. The hiring of a director, a locker room manager wasn't necessary. And that came up today. An exclusive piece of information that we brought in partnership with Bruno Lemos, Lemos Santos, who also works with Mauro Santana. An important piece of information is that Danilo and Jorginho, especially Jorginho, are working on it. Jorginho is working. With Danilo's help, in this matter of bringing the players closer to the coach, of managing Flamengo's locker room. And we had Jorginho, being seen several times, even in Flamengo TV's videos. He was talking to Leonardo Jardim, giving instructions to the group and also raising issues with Leonardo Jardim. And with him serving as that spokesperson, the person who acts as that link, Jorginho showing that, and Danilo as well, right? We also have images that were released, you saw them on our cover, of Danilo talking to Jardim and Jorginho also talking to Jardim. And this also happens with the board, okay? These are players, and even BAP praised Danilo a lot. And we know that Danilo has this intention of becoming a manager, an executive, a coach, something like that in football after his playing career. He has the ability for that. He's a very well-spoken guy and a very intelligent guy. He already has his own projects outside of football. Jorginho is the same way, right? Besides playing really well, being the penalty wizard with his little hop and everything, and commanding Flamengo's midfield. Jorginho also helps, right, when it comes to leadership. And he was really important, right, at that moment, at the time when both Danilo, with what he said after the last game, right, calling out the group, and Jorginho as well, right, holding everyone accountable. He really called them out, talked about it in the mixed zone, and especially held people accountable internally. And then we get to that point, right? Some players need to get back on track, like Samuel Lino, who showed a slight improvement. But he hasn't played well in the last 2 games, and he needs to work on his mentality, improve his confidence, and everything else. I don't know if Jorginho is thinking about maybe playing him as a wingback, right? Since he already played like that at Atletico de Madrid. But I think it's interesting for us to talk here about Gonzalo Plata because it's clear, right? The turnaround, the comeback of some players like Gonzalo Plata. Ayrton Lucas performed well in this game after facing heavy criticism in the previous match. But the most important thing, I think, is the most significant return to form. It was Plata who came in really well, deserved to score, almost did, hit the post, but played really well in the game. And it's like I said yesterday, the player doesn't have to follow Flamengo, doesn't have to have a Flamengo photo. He can delete it. If he deleted it, man, it's no problem. As long as he's committed, as long as he's dedicated to training, being an athlete, not messing up, if he's committed, he'll get his chance. I think that's what Jorginho was trying to say every time he talked about Gonzalo Plata. When he spoke at the press conference, about the player not being well integrated and all that. So, guys, that's what I'm saying. If the player is committed, right, with commitment, he gets another chance. He came in, played well, and now he's earning his place again at Flamengo. And actually, thanks to this leadership from Jorginho as well, right? Jorginho being a key figure in this leadership role. And also bringing the group closer to Plata, right? Plata, who was even being criticized by some before. At first, when he missed a practice or arrived late, people thought it was just a funny thing. Everyone found it amusing until there came a time when they stopped finding it funny. This was even reported by the newspaper O Globo. And the most important thing of all is that Jorginho brought Plata closer to everyone again, right? both to the coach and also to the board, to Jose Boto, who never really had a problem with Plata, but it was important for him to make the player aware of the board's dissatisfaction and also for the player to listen and decide to give his best, to want to do his part, to have commitment, which is the most important thing. So guys, I'm glad that Jorginho built this bridge, made this situation happen, and that this news reached us. I thought it was important to show you that Jorginho is being a true leader inside Ninho do Urubu and doing exactly what Flamengo was considering hiring someone for. If Flamengo hired someone, it would just add to their expenses by bringing in another manager. They were going to manage the locker room, and that wasn't necessary because Jorginho and Danilo are already taking care of that. So the hiring, at least for now, right, at least at this moment, the hiring of a locker room manager is suspended, right? Canceled. Let's put it that way. But it could happen. They might change their minds and hire someone, but they're doing that job well for now. Okay. I had already recorded here, right, some news about Jorginho. I had mentioned the good news about him being a leader, about him being a guy who's helping out in the locker room, but now the news is terrible. I had recorded that we knew he was having pain in his calf, right, in his left calf, but now the news is terrible. Aside from Pulgar's shoulder problem, which we'll discuss shortly, Jorginho had an injury confirmed, guys. What a tough time, my friends. Injury confirmed in Jorginho's left calf. After undergoing an MRI, the player had the injury in his left calf confirmed. In other words, Flamengo didn't disclose the severity of the injury, but besides not having Eric Pulgar in the midfield, in the game in Cusco, we won't have Jorginho either. And we also might not have him against Fluminense and Palmeiras, guys, in the Brasileirão. It's unbelievable. The two pillars of Flamengo's midfield out in decisive matches against teams that are at the top of the table, Fluminense and Palmeiras. Palmeiras, who are the leaders. Flamengo loses the two pillars of their midfield at a crucial moment of the season, at a crucial moment of the Libertadores debut at high altitude. It's unbelievable. And now we're going to need Nicolas de la Cruz more than ever. We're really going to need Nicolas de la Cruz, who came on really well against Santos. Herbert Araujo is a much more defensive player than a playmaker. And as for de la Cruz, he does both things very well. Tackling and also creating. Flamengo obviously has a very strong squad. They have a very strong squad with options there for the midfield. Besides Herbert Araujo himself, from defensive midfielder to central midfielder, there's De La Cruz, who he needs. Man, I'm going to talk about this, okay? We need him to take on this responsibility and travel to play at altitude. Because we know that De La Cruz sometimes doesn't play on artificial turf, doesn't play at high altitude, and so on. Man, we're going to need him, man. We're going to need him. Another important situation for us to talk about is Lucas Paquetá. He even spoke about it in the mixed zone this week after the win against Santos. He said that he does play, even in Europe for the national team, he plays as a box-to-box midfielder. If Flamengo needs, he'll play as a box-to-box midfielder. So obviously we have a big absence without Jorginho, without Eric Pulgar. We know that it's at least 2 weeks for Eric Pulgar. He has a problem with his shoulder. He was also diagnosed, according to Vene Casagrande, with a shoulder problem. So, Eric Pulgar won't play in Cusco, and he probably won't play against Fluminense and Palmeiras in the Brasileirão. Chavez will play. Chavez will play, that's right, but we also, on top of everything, lose Jorginho for an indefinite period. Besides that, Alexandre also has a problem with his hamstring. He plays on the right. Alexandre is also recovering. There have already been 2 games where Ayrton Lucas played in his place because he's injured. So Flamengo can't rely on Alexandre now. He's a very important player. Flamengo can't count on Eric Pulgar, out for 2 weeks, according to Vene Casagrande. And Flamengo won't be able to count on Jorginho. for at least that long? At least 15 to 30 days, guys, because even if the injury, it's a muscle injury in the left calf. MRI confirmed it. Yeah. If there's an injury, even if it's the simplest injury, it's 15 to 30 days, 15 to 30 days. So look how many games at a key moment in the season will be without Jorginho. If Palmeiras lost Piqueras, Flamengo's losses are much bigger. Much bigger. Flamengo has some significant losses. We always get worried when this stretch of injuries and absences comes around. Man, the moment has come. It's unbelievable. That moment we hate has come. That we hope doesn't happen. Which is losing important players to injuries. Yeah. Flamengo has, like I said, Paquetá to play as the other holding midfielder to make up for Jorginho's absence. There's Everton Araujo to play in place of Polgar, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And then there's De La Cruz. Here's my point. On the left side, Ayrton Lucas will have to do his job. I've already talked here about the possibility of Lino also playing as a wingback to give Leonardo Jardim more options there as well. It's a different setup. I know it's a different setup, but he can consider these options. And then another important point for us to talk about, it's the, man, that's unbelievable. It's De La Cruz. De La Cruz, we know that in some games on synthetic turf and at high altitude, he doesn't travel. He's not in the squad, but Flamengo has to understand that this game is essential. In a game like this, at a moment like this, it's essential for De La Cruz to be available. Because of this situation, precisely because of injuries, De La Cruz has to be available, man.
He has to be available.
It's an important moment.
It's extremely important for him to be available. But there's no way. He has to be available.
He doesn't play on the field.
He has to be available.
He's going to have to play against Cusco. My God, guys, this is crazy. Flamengo there. And the worst part is it's in the same position group, right? Same position group. Eric Pulgar and Jorginho. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was last year. I don't remember exactly when. But there was a moment when both of them got injured at the same time. Flamengo really struggled. Who remembers? Flamengo struggled significantly when both Eric Pulgar and Jorginho were absent. A lot. Well, very bad news. So Eric Pulgar's shoulder problem. Alexandro won't travel for the game against Cusco, according to Bruno Lemos, who works with Mauro Santana, because he's still recovering from the injury to the back of his thigh. And now Jorginho as well. Monica Alves from Coluna reported that he left with muscle pain in the last game, the game against Santos. And now Flamengo, the club's own communications, confirmed the information that Jorginho is injured and is out of the game in Cusco and many others, right, guys? Because it's an injury. It's an injury. Nothing you can do.
There's a way.
That's it. Please follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video. Thanks for joining me. Greetings, Cubileros. This is Flamengo. Thanks.
Hey. Wow, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Unbelievable.
Man, let me tell you guys, that's crazy. Leila Pereira decided to show up again to say that Palmeiras doesn't complain about refereeing. Oh, really, Ms. Leila? Doesn't complain about refereeing. Palmeiras doesn't complain about refereeing. That's crazy, Ms. Leila? Oh, her coach, when he complains, gets a card, gets punished on the field. Let's see here. Look at what Leila said to the press. Check this out, guys. Take a look. Check this out, guys. That's crazy. Saying that every time Palmeiras
wins a game, there's a scandal.
Leila, for God's sake.
And I've said it many times. The president of Palmeiras, I don't complain about refereeing. In the Libertadores final, there was a very serious foul against us.
Did you guys understand?
As a result, I stepped back and looked at what we could improve. I would never be your burden.
Look, you stepped back, but Abel didn't, because Abel has already talked about this situation several times. Don't play the victim, Ms. Leila.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh. Yeah, oh. Difícil. E não houve influência.
None. Rogério Senna is crazy.
Vocês vão dizer, vocês perguntam, mas eu jornalista pergunto também. Vocês vão falar, mas nossa, Leila, você reclama falando de dirigentes que ficam reclamando de arbitragem. E o seu treinador? Eu tenho certeza que vou perguntar isso. Não é? But my coach, when he complains on the field, he gets punished. He gets a card. He gets punished. He doesn't take part in the next game.
Is that correct, Mrs. Leila?
The club officials complain and nothing happens. And coaches who complain in interviews and nothing happens. That's unfair. My coach, he complains, but he gets punished. I wish there were punishments for club officials too. Respected the referees, the players who respected the referees in interviews. So things should be more equal.
Yeah, so let's go. Your coach complained yesterday, Ms. Leila. Your coach complained yesterday, okay? Just to let you know, your coach complained yesterday. He started the press conference by complaining about the 8 minutes of added time they gave. You like to play the victim, Ms. Leila, as always. Now, for you all here, Pedrinho, also talking about the loan she took from Crefisa. Man, it's all connected. Now, Pedrinho too. Today, Leila attacking Flamengo, attacking BAP. Now, Pedrinho attacking BAP. He makes it clear that he's not attacking Flamengo, but he is attacking BAP. Let's see here. Take a look.
The president of Flamengo, the president, don't stop thinking
President of Flamengo.
about his arrogance and haughtiness.
Arrogance and haughtiness.
I've said it several times in a tone that I don't like.
Oh, you don't like it, do you?
When I take out a loan with Crefisa and the loan is structured at a lower CDI rate, that way I pay less. His concern wasn't the loan. That was his concern, and he said it very indirectly because you can be direct about what you say. He wasn't direct, just insinuated.
He was direct and didn't hint, man.
I take out the loan on the day I lose the game to Palmeiras 3-0. So he's there questioning my character,
It's not yours.
my coach's character.
No one will believe you'd order the coach or players to do that, but I have.
I have to go to my coach and tell him that I have to lose the game. My coach would have to be a bastard, just like I am. Tell the players, all the players too, that they'd have no integrity so we can lose a soccer game. Because I took a loan from a company that lives off loans. So how can I believe that a league will work under the control of people who run the club? I can't believe that.
Look, let me tell you something, Pedrinho. I don't think anyone would ever believe that anyone would really order a team to lose on purpose. The thing is, it's a strange situation. This needs to be talked about. In the middle of this whole financial fair play situation and all, you can't have a company that's basically the investor of one club wanting to invest in another, like what's happening now. And on top of that, in the week of a game, they go and lend a plane, and that raises eyebrows. It creates a situation where you're like, it's all very strange. No one is accusing anyone of anything. I understand what BAP did, okay? It's just that everything is really very strange. But I get it. The whole media is against Flamengo, against BAP. I'm seeing it. I understand everything, guys. I understand everything. It's against everything and everyone. Friends, look, we have here Flamengo's roster for the Copa Libertadores da America. Flamengo is going after their 5th championship, Brazil's most successful club, the current champion defending the title. Goalkeepers, Rossi, Andrew, Diogo Alves, Leo Nanete, Werneck. Fullbacks, Guilhermo Varela, Ayrton, Lucas, Danilo, Emerson, Royal, Alexandro, Daniel Sales, Gustavo Ramirez, Gustavo, and Gabriel Amancio. Forwards, Luiz Araújo, Pedro, Everton, Cebolinha, Samuel Lino, Gonzalo Plata, Bruno Henrique, Josmar, Wallace, Ian, Joshua, Camargo, Douglas Telles, Jefferson, and Rian Roberto. There are 50 players, okay? Defenders, Léo Ortiz, Léo Pereira, da Mata, Vitão, Munhoz, João Vitor, Johnny, Daniel Silva. Midfielders: Eric Pulgar, Saúl, De Arrascaeta, Carrascal, Nicolás de la Cruz, Lucas Paquetá, Jorginho, Guilherme, Sayago, Everton Araújo, Pablo Lúcio, Alan Santos, Caio Nóbrega, Lucas Vieira, and Luis Felipe. These are the 50 Flamengo players registered. List of players registered for the 2026 CONMEBOL Libertadores. Let's go all in. On Wednesday, Mengo debuts in the Libertadores at altitude in Cusco.